Inspiration, I think, in general is overrated. I mean, I'm inspired by the fact that composing music is my job. And so, like anybody else with any other job, it's something, that's what I do. I get up in the morning and I go and compose. And sometimes I work efficiently and sometimes I don't work efficiently. And in a sense, inspiration, which is after all having an idea, can be a pain in the neck because you don't want to have this brilliant idea in the middle of trying to write a piece because it's probably not going to be germane to what you're doing. You should have had the idea for that piece before you started work on it. So in a way, inspiration is something I sort of hope doesn't come most days. I think my music is probably influenced more by other music than anything else, but not so much by the music that I'm hearing now. I listen to a lot of music. I listen to more music than most composers do. I know composers who don't listen to any music at all because it interferes with their work. But I have to listen to music because I write about it and talk about it on the radio. And I've had to find a way of stopping it from interfering with my work and compartmentalizing my life. I learned compartmentalizing quite early in my time presenting the music show because I only work 2 days a week for the ABC and I only get paid 2 days a week for the ABC, so I don't really want to be thinking about this on my other days. I want to be composing. And so I learnt to keep the things separate. Even after a few months, I got very good at leaving it behind me. And sometimes people would ask me, if I went out for dinner, say on a Saturday night, they'd say, "Oh, I missed the show this morning. Who did you have on?" And I couldn't remember. When I was younger, of course, I was susceptible to all sorts of influences, and I listened very widely to a lot of different music. And I suppose it's probably all affected me, but there are certain composers that I've always felt close to. And ever since, since I was a teenager, I remember discovering Birtwhistle's music, for example, and hearing it on the radio and tuning in to listen to the Triumph of Time, which was being broadcast. And I didn't know anything about this piece at all. And I didn't know anything about Birtwhistle, although I think I found his name a bit provocative. And I did what I often did with something which I thought might be interesting, which was to sit there with my cassette recorder, and hold the microphone to the transistor and record presumably a very lo-fi version of the Triumph of Time. And I must have listened to that tape. I can still picture it, the cassette. I must have listened to it, dozens and dozens and dozens of times, until finally I bought an LP. But there was something about that music which absolutely connected with me. And it would be hard to put it into words, and it's only one example. Rituel of Boulez was another one. I was at the first performance of that piece, and of course visually it was extraordinary because there were all of these little performing units on the stage. And it wasn't clear to start with what was going on. Some of the players had their backs to you, and some of the players had their backs to the conductor. But so there were lots of pieces, big and small, or moments in pieces that spoke to me as a young composer. And well, the fact that I'm still talking about these now, obviously they've stayed with me, and they're in there somewhere. And I dare say I plagiarise them unconsciously all the time.